welcome to my studio.
Aquí Maria Fernandez, one of our favorite artists in Arteria. We met when it was, in April?
Oh, it was about 2 months ago, wasn't it? And we just feel like friends.
Yes, yes. And the first time that we saw her work, we said, okay, we're gonna buy it. And then we disappeared for 2 months, 3 months. And she was extraordinarily calm. And so I felt like she was trusting me like a friend since ever, and this made me want to buy it even more and buy everything. But of course, I want also all the people to buy the collection that she has in Spain, that we're gonna exhibit on the 20th of October, right, with a collective exhibition that we're gonna have in our gallery in Carrer Sant Marc 26. So, Maria, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, first, thank you for doing this interview. That's really good. Well, I'm born in Argentina. And I have a very multicultural background because my parents are Portuguese, and I'm born in Argentina, and then I moved to Australia, and then now I live in Spain as well. So I really have this inspiration from all the countries and places that I've been in. In terms of my career, I started as a computer scientist. Nothing to do with arts. I'm really a very left-sided artist because with that I use more my left side, which is like the structured and very not artistic, but more like structured logic, behavior and thinking. After many years, I started realizing that I just loved as well to express my emotions and things like that. And I thought that art would be the way to do it. So started painting about 20 years ago and in Australia, and started doing very basic things. And then I moved into the abstract. So that is more or less quickly my story regarding my life as an artist. I don't know if you want to know more.
Yes, that. Of course. We want to know more. We want to know everything.
Everything
today.
Okay.
So we said that we behaved as friends, no? Since the first instance, you trust us completely, and thank you for that, because this is fundamental for us. We work with credibility, so this is also something we wanted to thank you publicly today. And how you define the relationship between the artist and the gallerist? Why the gallery as identity is still so important in a world that you can see is a very social media oriented?
Yes, well, definitely galleries are super important for artists, even though these days we rely a lot on the social media and all the website and all these sort of things. But with galleries is completely different, because you can see, the people can see what you do face to face. It's not just looking at an image in the computer. What the important thing is that there has to be a good relationship, of course, between the gallerist and the gallery and the artist, in the sense that, as you mentioned before, you need to trust each other, and trust for me is the fundamentals for that. So you have to be sure that I'm going to come up with whatever you want to see during a certain time and that sort of thing. And at the same time, me as an artist, I want to make sure that you represent me honestly and represent my work in the way with my vision, not with your vision, but with both of us, vision from both of us. So that's the main thing with galleries. So the other thing is that the galleries promote the work much better than in Instagram, for instance, because you can actually have contacts with the collectors. You have there's a lot of things that allow the artists to be more relying on galleries more than any other media.
What we like about Maria is also that you have a very different background. You come from Argentina, but also you are mentioned Portugal, but you are half of the year in Australia. So how all this is influencing your art, how Barcelona specifically is influencing your art. Do you feel that like you paint differently when you are in Barcelona or when you are in Australia or in Buenos Aires?
Well, that's a good question, because definitely there is a big difference in the sense that probably mainly from the point of view, obviously, of the inspiration. So when I'm in Barcelona or in Blanes, that I live in Blanes part of the time, which is in Costa Brava,
fourth place,
in Costa Brava, what actually is very interesting for me to see the nature and the environment that surrounds me. Mainly, most of the last series that I've been working on, and you are familiar with Costa Brava, is all inspired in the coast Mediterranean Sea, which is for me the main inspiration. So that's mainly in Spain, is the nature of the coast and the sea and all these sort of things. In Australia, it's completely different, because even though we have a sea, the inspiration comes more from the very, how can I explain it? The environment is very green, we have mountains, and I live in a valley, and that gives me a completely different type of inspiration from the point of view of the environment. But the question is as well, I'm not only getting inspired on the environment. Okay. So my work is more about myself, about what I feel and how I feel emotions and how I can express them. And these environments allow me to do that as well. So it's a bit of a difference between one place or another, but I love both of them.
Mm-hmm. And in this beautiful studio, where do you paint specifically?
Well, I paint in that part of the studio that we can actually have a look later. And it is, because this is my house as well, so I live in here. So I love to live in my studio.
In beautiful.
And the beauty is very important to me, because the beauty is being always a very important factor. And I think most of the artists will tell you the same. If you don't appreciate beauty, it's very hard to paint, because paint is about beauty.
Exactly.
So I need the space that represents that as well. So for me, the space is very important. I cannot start even painting if it's a mess in here in my studio. So I really need
so
to...
you don't paint if...
No. I'm not a messy artist. There are a lot of people that cannot paint with a very organized studio. I'm the opposite. I need to have everything in their place, that I have to please my eyes first. And that a lot of times inspires me, because I look at my previous paintings, I remember that I enjoy doing that one, or I like that color, or I look at that chair and I like the turquoise.
So also there is a component of architecture, interior design
that is true. In my case, because I love interior design and I love architecture, even though I didn't study architecture, it's really it's a component of my art. And in particularly, I like always thinking on my paintings, about my paintings on a wall. So I always have in mind how it's going to look on a wall, on this particular wall, or in a gallery, because it's the synergy between the space and the painting is very important. So it's not just the painting. And it has to be big, because these little ones, I can't relate to little things, because aesthetically, it takes me a while to appreciate small things. I need big things.
Thank you for saying that, because it's very important, and it shows your professionalism and the fact that you think, or the handed products, no? The art is beautiful, but you have to sell your art. Otherwise, you are creating for yourself. And so imagine how a painting is in a wall is very important for your client. And sometimes artists needs the galleries to understand how to, have the interpretation of the client side,
Have to have the interpretation of the client. The client or the collector or the buyer. We can use
and the buyer.
the buyers.
That's it.
The interpretation or the appreciation, that they like. So you have need to
And so I want to ask you also if you could tell us a story of when a buyer or a potential buyer gave you a bad feedback or.
Well, in general, buyers don't give direct bad feedback to the artist, so they restrain themselves to say that. And normally, I get the good side of it. But if I get bad feedback, honestly, I don't remember many times that happened. But I would take that as a very important thing as well, because I'm very much into learning from mistakes and from what I did before, and I want to understand what are the things that people don't appreciate. So if somebody tells me, probably my husband has done that a lot, maybe you should change that bit and it's a bit too dark in here, whatever, I take it really very positively, in the sense that without that criticism I might have done a piece that is not as good as could be. So yes, I try to be calm and take the feedback as a positive thing, even if it is a negative, in the sense that they're telling you that they don't like something. In general, it's very hard to absorb that, because you say, oh, I did everything wrong and people don't like what I'm doing. But it's not the case. Normally the feedback gives you inclusive new ideas, new directions, and I take it as a step forward. Yeah.
And you would like to be compared to some specific artist that you have in mind?
Or so many, like Picasso and Tapies and Rothko. Now, the other day somebody told me that I was painting, I can't remember the name of the artist that she said, but I look in internet, and really that painting that person was buying, because they bought that painting, was really similar to a very known artist, and now I can't remember the name. But definitely I love all the abstract expressionism, which is all the painters from the 1950s that did this revolution on abstract painting, and after Picasso and all these sort of things, they changed completely with completely conceptual or abstract like these, that is really not representing anything at all. Among them, I love Rothko, and I think you have a painting at the moment in the gallery that is called Conversation with Rothko, because I really talk to him. He's
really?
Yes, he's my favorite paint. No, not really, but I would love to, and I would love to paint like him, honestly. So I took the time to do something similar to what he does, to see how I feel, and really loved it, because the use of the colors and the textures, even it's a very minimalistic paintings, but I love Rothko. Tapies is one of my favorites as well, Antoni Tapies. I love Miro, and of course Picasso and all these other artists, the Clooney. There are many that I would love to be with like them, and I get inspired by them. Basically, I can't tell you that I don't look at their work. I do look at their work, and I wish I could paint like them.
You do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Well, thank you.
Maria, since we are here, surrounded by your paintings, would you like to tell us a bit about your process, how you use all these things, like what you do with these?
Well, yes, I don't use brushes very much. So my process is mainly done with tools like that. So even forks, like to create textures and things completely. Look, this actually is a really good tool to create textures, because it's got all these sort of things in here, and you can go like that and push the paint everywhere. But My process, I don't have a repetitive process. So I actually do, depending on my inspiration, depending on whatever, the colors that I want to paint or the theme. I have different process, but the process normally starts with a preparation, which actually is getting in my mind inspired of what I'm going to do, what is my plan, what is my objective, do I want to send a message to somebody, or do I want to just play around and do whatever I feel like at the moment.
I love the word playing.
Yes,
how
I
you
play.
use
I do
this,
play a lot.
Like how you use this.
That's a credit card or something like that. Well, just get the paint and then you start pushing the paint around, but it's with very, very intuitive movements. Same as with this. So that would be, oh, I got already paint in my hands.
How you seem, when you speak about your art, you seem very attached to your artwork, but you are not, because then you are very happy to sell it and give it to someone.
Yeah, but I cry every time I sell it. Painting. Do you remember
cry.
when you took the other one?
You didn't
I
cry.
was very emotional. Yeah, but almost there.
We said
because
bye to
I
Mama.
really get very attached to some of my paintings, not all of them. But the thing is, I like people when the people appreciate what I do as well. So.
Yeah.
Is definitely a combination of the two. I want to keep some of them, but at the same time I want other people to enjoy them. Actually, I love taking pictures of people putting my paintings in their walls. So you have to send
I have to send the.
But anyway, I have to clean my.
So between the paintings that we are here, or if you have another one in your mind, which is the best result, the one that you are most proud? Mine.
Actually, I'm very proud of these two pieces. I have them here for some reason. This is the Costa Brava series, and I've been having very positive feedback, not negative, about my Costa Brava series. I think that is because it's inspired in Spain and the coast, and a lot of people relate to the sea in that way. I use very unusual materials. This is like bitumen. I use what is called asphaltica or something like that. This one is this is a la tapies, so with a lot of material, and I just push and pull material. Well, I don't even remember when I did this one. It's a bit of texture here with the
sand
material,
maybe, no?
And sand. Yes, very good. So you picked that up. But I use as well building materials like fillers and things that I use for fixing walls.
When you are in Australia or when you are in Buenos Aires, do you think about tapies? Do you think about
how do I find inspiration?
Yes. When you have a creative block also, do you ever have creative blocks?
Yes, all the time.
Or you are always creative?
Oh, it's very typical, and I don't worry about it, because creative blocks are there for some reason. So it means that you need to take a rest, and that's what I do. Meditate, do something else, go and cook or something like that. Because it's when you have a creative block, which happens a lot of times, if you insist on continuing and doing a piece, you're not going to get anywhere, or at least I can't get anywhere. So I normally stop and try to get inspiration in different ways by going for a walk, listening to the birds and looking at the sea, and that is the main way that I deal with creative blocks. But it is good. I mean, any piece doesn't have to be a masterpiece. I mean, which actually, that is as well something to relax that I use a lot. So, because we get very involved and you want to do the perfect piece, and then you get a block because you can't see the next step. But if I stop and say, well, okay, it's going to be maybe another day that I'm going to get that. So
it's amazing.
Fine.
Whatever you say, it's amazing, because you approach in a very happy way, positive way. Yeah. Like you are very in your rhythm all the time. So in your you're synchronized with your creativity completely. Do you have a part of the art professionalism that you don't like, or you enjoy all?
Oh yes, a lot of stuff that I don't like. One is the social media and being on top of the marketing of my work.
Yeah.
Even having to put a price to my own work, I don't like it. It's really hard for you to, because for me it's got a value that is not really money, but people want to know how much I charge for it. But the marketing side, all the networking is fine as long as it's dealing with interesting people that you normally do in galleries.
Yes.
And but sometimes marketing could be heavy as well for an artist. So that's why I'm very grateful that you do that bit. I don't have to do it. So galleries are very good for that.
Okay.
Because I want to have my time to paint. I don't want to do all the other things.
So you made this today?
No, I started it 2 days ago, and I did 2 layers of this. This is 2 layers of paint. That means that, but that at least I need to go at least once more, because I have to put it vertically now. So I cannot work vertically because they are big pieces and they will drip. So I put it in normally in here, then I call my husband and say, tell me, criticize.
Where is your husband now?
I don't know. He's
I
somewhere
don't
there.
know. So it's hidden
Because
somewhere.
it's completely different when you actually put it vertically.
Yeah. But there are artists that only can work vertically, only.
Yes,
and artists that can work only
True,
horizontally.
true. I like to work horizontally as well because it's I use water a lot. It's very liquid and very fluid, so it wouldn't work vertically. But once it's dry and I go into the final steps of my process, where I refine and I get criticism, I incorporate other ideas from other people, things like that, I go vertically.
So I hope that you invite Arteria next time when this is ready for a coffee. We sit down, we see all your new paintings, we talk about it together, because it's all a collection, right?
This one is sort of becoming a collection. That one is part of the collection, the one that is in there as well.
Yeah, there.
It's a Costa Brava, and you have one in the gallery at the moment. That is it's an older collection, so done with the materials. This one, I don't know if you want to show these ones, but those ones are more inspired on the minimalism sort of type of thing and this is again something completely different from that.
Completely different.
Yeah. And yeah, I would be happy to show this one because it's such a big piece that it's not. I don't even know where I'm gonna put it now when I finish. Do you want it to have?
Of course. Yes. Yes.
I can give it to you when you finish, but the thing is, we don't have time because I'm leaving this Sunday.
Yeah, because Maria is going to Australia now.
I'm going back to Australia.
We're going to meet back in 6 months. So
yes, in May I will be back and will be happy to organize another exhibition at your gallery.
So thank you, Maria, for these beautiful lessons about you, about art, how you use credit cards and how you can, use. I like the construction materials that you use in the painting, so it's amazing.
Yes, and it's my. I like to use.
Do you like if people touch your painting?
Yes, I love it,
so,
and I touch it all the time.
So the do not touch of the museum, we can trash it.
Fine. Yeah, no.
We can paint with it.
Yes, well, thank you, Laura, for your trust in me, and I think that you're being great in showing my work. And your gallery is beautiful. I love it. It's such a nice space as well.
Grazie.
Okay.
Thank you.